Hello, my incredible friends. Welcome back to our channel, InspiRise Hub, where we share inspiring, life-changing, and motivational stories that also help you improve your English. Today, I'm excited to share one of the most remarkable and emotional success stories of all time. The story of Colonel Sanders and how he built KFC at the age of 65. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. Are you 25 and feeling like a failure? Are you 40 and still struggling, thinking it's too late for success? Are you jobless and feeling worthless? Do you look at successful people and think, maybe success isn't meant for me? If you answered yes to any of these, let me stop you right there. You are not a failure. It's not too late. You still have time. And today, I will prove it to you. Because Colonel Sanders, the man behind KFC, faced failure after failure throughout his life. He was broke at 65, jobless, and without hope. But at 65, when most people retire, he built a billion-dollar empire. Listen closely, because after hearing his story, you'll realize that success has no age limit. Failure is just a part of the journey. If you love inspiring and motivational content, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video so more people can see it, and comment below, "I will never give up," to show your commitment. I bring you the best motivational and educational stories every day, so be part of this journey. Now, let's dive into the incredible story of Colonel Sanders, the man who turned failure into a billion-dollar success. Let's go back to September 9th, 1890, when a little boy named Harland David Sanders was born in a small house in Henryville, Indiana, USA. From the very beginning, life was tough for him. When Harland was just 5 years old, something tragic happened. His father passed away suddenly, leaving his mother alone with 3 children. Imagine being a 5-year-old waking up one morning to realize your father is never coming back. His mother was heartbroken, but she had no time to grieve. She had to work day and night to feed her children. And do you know what that meant for little Harland? At just 5 years old, he had to take care of the entire household. He cooked for his family, looked after his younger siblings, and did all the chores. This is where something amazing happened. Harland discovered his love for cooking. Little did he know that this small passion would one day change the world. School was not an option for Harland. He was a bright boy, but life didn't allow him to study. At 7, he started working on a farm, and by 10, he was a full-time farmhand earning just $2 a month. Can you imagine how hard his life was? By the time he turned 12, he had enough. His mother remarried, and his stepfather was abusive. One day, he decided he couldn't live there anymore, so at just 12 years old, he ran away from home. From there, his life became even more challenging. He worked as a streetcar conductor, a firefighter, a steam engine stoker, a soldier in the US Army, a salesman, a railroad worker, and an insurance agent. He tried everything, but failed at every turn. Each time he tried to settle into a job, something would go wrong. He was fired multiple times and found himself broke again and again. By the time he was 40, he still had nothing. Finally, at 40, he got a small gas station in Kentucky. He thought, "This is my chance." He started selling fried chicken to travelers, and guess what? People loved his chicken. Slowly, word spread, and more people came to enjoy his special recipe. After so many failures, it seemed like his life was finally changing. But then, something terrible happened. The government built a new highway, and just like that, his gas station was finished. Once again, he found himself broke, jobless, and hopeless. But here's the thing about Colonel Sanders. He was not an ordinary man. He was a fighter. Instead of giving up, he decided to start again. Life continued to test him. After losing his gas station and restaurant, Sanders had to find any work to survive. At 44, he got a job as a cook in a small cafeteria. At 48, he worked as a dishwasher. At 50, he managed a motel. But every time he thought he had found stability, something would go wrong. He was fired, lost money, and was forced to move again. Nothing worked out. He even tried opening another restaurant, but a fire burned it down. Imagine this. You lose your father at 5, are forced to work as a child, run away from home at 12, do over 20 jobs, and fail at most of them. You start a business at 40, and it fails. You try again, and it burns down. Most people would give up by now, thinking they were meant to be poor. But not Sanders. He refused to believe he was a failure. Even though his life was a mess, he had one thing that nobody else did: his secret fried chicken recipe. That recipe was special. People loved his chicken. So he had an idea. Instead of opening another restaurant, what if he sold his recipe to restaurant owners and earned a small commission on every piece of chicken they sold? It was a crazy idea. Nobody had done this before. But Sanders had nothing to lose. At 62, he took his chicken recipe, put on his white suit, and started knocking on doors. You go to one, they laugh at you. You go to the next, they tell you to leave. You go to another, and they say it will never work. This happened again and again. 10 times, 50 times, 100 times. But he kept going. At an age when most people retire, he was traveling across America, sleeping in his car, eating cheap meals, and facing rejection every single day. Then, after 1,009 rejections, one restaurant owner finally said yes. That was all he needed. That first yes changed everything. Slowly, more restaurant owners agreed to use his recipe. His idea was working. People started loving his chicken. And then, at 65 years old, something unbelievable happened: the birth of KFC. A businessman saw what Sanders was doing and offered to invest in his idea. Together, they created Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. Just like that, a man who was broke and jobless at 62 had built a multi-million-dollar business by 65. Imagine this. One day, you're poor, nobody respects you, and everyone laughs at you. Suddenly, you become the founder of a global brand. This was the beginning of something huge. Colonel Sanders had finally done it. At 65, when most people retire, he built KFC from nothing. The same man who had lost everything multiple times was now the founder of one of the most famous food chains in the world. His unique way of frying chicken with 11 secret herbs and spices was something nobody had ever tasted before. It was crispy, juicy, and full of flavor. People started lining up outside restaurants just to get a taste. Within a few years, KFC had hundreds of locations across America. By the time Sanders was 73, KFC had over 600 restaurants. His dream was finally coming true. But there was one big problem. Colonel Sanders was not a businessman. He was a cook. He loved making chicken and serving people, but he hated dealing with business problems. Running a huge company was too much for him. He was old and tired. He had spent his entire life struggling, and now, even after achieving success, he still had no peace. He was traveling across America, trying to manage everything, but he felt like he was losing control. The company was growing too fast, and he was too old to handle it alone. So, in 1964, at the age of 73, Colonel Sanders made a big decision. He sold KFC. He sold it to a group of investors for $2 million. That may not sound like much today, but back then, $2 million was a huge amount of money. In today's value, it would be around $20 million. But here's the shocking part. He sold KFC for just $2 million. But today, KFC is worth over $15 billion. Yes, you heard that right. The brand he created is worth thousands of times more than what he sold it for. This decision would haunt him for the rest of his life. After selling KFC, Colonel Sanders thought he would finally rest and enjoy life. He had money, fame, and success. But there was a big problem. The new owners of KFC started changing things. They reduced the quality of the chicken and used cheaper ingredients to make more profit. When Sanders saw what was happening, he was furious. He felt betrayed. KFC was his life's work. He had suffered for 65 years to build something amazing. And now, in just a few years, these businessmen were ruining everything. Even though he had sold the company, he couldn't stay silent. He started publicly criticizing KFC, saying, "The stuff they serve today is not my recipe. It's terrible." But no matter how much he complained, he couldn't take back the company. It was too late. He had to live with that decision, and it became his biggest regret. Even after selling KFC, Sanders didn't stop working. He was still passionate about food, so he started another restaurant called Claudia Sanders Dinner House, named after his wife. But legally, he could not use the name KFC anymore. Still, he kept traveling the world, visiting KFC locations, meeting fans, and sharing his story. He became one of the most famous and beloved businessmen in the world. People saw him as a symbol of hard work, never giving up, and proving that success has no age limit. But soon, his time was coming to an end. In 1980, at the age of 90, Colonel Sanders passed away. His life had been a journey of pain, struggle, failure, and success. He lived through the loss of his father at 5, running away from home at 12, doing more than 20 different jobs, and failing at most of them. He started his first business at 40 and lost it, went broke at 62, and slept in his car, getting rejected 1,009 times before finding success. He became a millionaire at 73, regretted selling his company, but still left behind an empire. Today, KFC has more than 27,000 restaurants in over 150 countries. It is one of the biggest food brands in the world, and it all started with one old man who refused to give up. What can you learn from his story? Age is just a number. Colonel Sanders didn't become successful until his 60s, showing us that it's never too late to start chasing your dreams. Failure isn't the end. Sanders faced rejection after rejection, but instead of giving up, he kept pushing forward, learning from each failure and improving his strategy. Persistence pays off. Sanders was rejected 1,009 times. Most people would have given up long before that, but he kept going, and that perseverance eventually paid off. Follow your passion. Sanders was passionate about cooking and serving delicious food. It was this passion that drove him even in the toughest times. Believe in yourself. Despite facing obstacles that would have broken most people, Sanders believed in himself and his product. He refused to let others' opinions define his future. Colonel Sanders' story is a perfect example of what can happen when you don't give up. Whether you're 25 or 65, you have the power to change your life. You can take control of your future and make your dreams a reality. The only thing standing in your way is whether you choose to keep going or give up when times get tough. So if you're facing struggles right now, remember this: you're not alone. You can still achieve your dreams, and no matter how old you are, you still have time to succeed. Take action today. If you're inspired by Harland Sanders' journey, don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Take one small step today toward your dreams. Whether it's starting a new business, learning a new skill, or simply making a plan. Remember, success is not a straight line. It's a journey with ups and downs. But if you persist, you'll get there. No matter where you are in life, it's never too late to start again and make your dreams come true. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories that can change your life. And as always, don't give up.